is Ben,
And I'm Amanda.
and this is Seasoned Readings. You saw that one coming, unfortunately. I was
Little
really
bit.
hoping. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Next time,
You're gonna get me?
all bets are off.
Oh, all right.
Coming out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. So
Okay.
are we
Yeah.
ready to
No, I'm not ready
but our favorite character is
because we.
gonna show up again.
Well, it's almost it's like an overstimulation kind of a thing, I think, for these three chapters that we're hoping to cover. We talked about
Yeah.
before we started that we're going to try and cover
Mhm.
chapters 25, 26, and 27.
Yes.
And these are big deals because
We got some big moments
we got some
happening.
big moments happening. It's got some big stuff.
I think each chapter has like a moment that we're gonna
Yeah,
have to discuss.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We left off and the I think there was the fairy's head, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fairy's head on the like was
Yep. And they talked about the night court and all of that stuff.
and how terrible they are, torturers and whatever else they said
Yes,
about it.
they have no morals.
Right. The most terriblest fairies in the night court.
Apparently, yes.
Right. And Tamlin and then chapter 25, Tamlin spends his time away.
Yeah, he got called away to the borders, I think partly because of the head
Yeah,
that was found on the border.
makes sense.
But of course, in Tamlin fashion, Timmy Tam did not
TT.
share
Who?
any of this information with Feyre. So she's just left to wonder, like, what's going on and
Why
where
is
did
he
he go
gone?
and
Why
why
do
is
I
he
know?
gone?
Why do I
Yeah.
know nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's how we operate. That's how Tamiflu operates. I came up with that one just like a couple hours ago. I was pretty proud
Oh,
of
I
it.
love that. Thank you for like sitting on that because like your wife did not even disclose that to me, just that her phone always autocorrects Tamlin to tampon, which I think is
So good.
hysterical.
Yeah, the joke in my head was going to be like, what's his name? Tamiflu,
Tam-
tampon, Tamerlane,
Tamlin.
Tam.
Yeah.
Anyway, this it all works out. So yeah, so he's gone,
Mhm.
and Farah's just like
She
rot with.
is struggling.
Yeah, she's like this bloodied, severed head. Well, I mean, at this point, what has she seen? She's seen like some crazy fairies trying to take
So,
advantage of
oh
her.
man, like if we
Their
completely write out her entire past
right. Oh,
and
well,
just
yes.
talk about what has happened
Just
within Prithian,
just in the spring court,
the
we have
Surreal,
the Surreal, which was, her own doing, but nevertheless,
she went
we
and
have
found it,
the Puka,
the Puka.
which was playing with her head with some
Mm-hmm.
really sensitive stuff with her father and her sisters and other stuff. We got the
The
fairy with
bogey,
right, the bogey,
the
the
bogey.
the fairy with the wings ripped off,
Yep, the severed head,
the severed head,
almost assaulted by three fairies on Fire Night.
right, and then
Also just the
scared
beast
shitless
that
out of.
is
But go ahead, what you're saying?
the beast that is Tamlin.
Right, and Tamlin, and getting bit the fuck by
It was pretty hot.
right. Okay, so she's not sorry. She wasn't traumatized by that one. That one
No.
was
Well, and then the glamour weared off,
right, and the glamour
realizing
wore
that
off.
she's been surrounded by people this whole time. Had no
It's just,
idea.
it's just like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just like oh,
The
this
Naga.
that happened. The Naga. Yeah. Okay. So at
More
this point,
Naga.
more Naga.
She's been through it.
So at this point, our girl's been run through the ringer more
A
or
little
less.
bit,
So
yeah.
yeah. So definitely experiencing some difficulty sleeping. I think it
Mm-hmm.
says she's not eating.
Yeah.
Um, and they okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but they do all wait, hold on, wait, I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong area. He does come back. Or
He
no, he
will.
doesn't.
He
He doesn't
doesn't.
yet.
She has no idea when he's coming back. Like
But we
he's
do
just
he's just
he's
gone.
gone.
But we do find out about a celebration coming up,
The summer solstice.
the summer solstice. And I'm pretty sure if I remember, she was like, oh well, I'm not gonna get to come to this one either. And then it's like, no, this one's someone tells her, no, this one's a little different. Like,
Yeah, so it talks about how that she's trying to keep food down is a struggle, sleeping is a struggle. She can feel this creeping malice because of the whole severed head on the border thing. Like, so she knows that whatever this blight is finally kind of entering the spring court.
Mm.
However, even though that is the case, she awoke one morning to what she described as merry fiddling, as well as the gardens were covered in ribbons and streamers, and she saw the makings for giant bonfires and maypoles in the distant hills. And so she asked, she goes, because of course she did, she had to ask about it. She had to ask Alice what was going on. And that's when Alice kind of told her about it's simply the summer solstice, and the main celebration needs to be. Uh oh,
Everything's fine.
we're good.
Everything's fine.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Keep going.
Okay. So Alice explains to her that it's the summer solstice that used to be at the summer court, but since things are different now, they are doing their own kind of summer solstice.
Right.
And Alice just ends this whole explanation with, "Oh, and you're going.
Right. Yeah.
You will be attending the summer solstice celebration."
And then she's instantly like, I don't want to go. No, I don't. It's not true.
No, I mean, essentially, yeah. Because then, yeah, she starts kind of going, just kind of starts like talking about, oh wow, she couldn't believe it, all of this stuff, and remembering times when looks like the children of the blessed might have tried to convert people, all of that kind of stuff. It seemed so far away, like such a distant time.
Mm-hmm.
Tamlin was gone, but she did paint. And then let me see. Yeah, then it says that in the late afternoon she heard Tamlin's voice and Lucian laughing. But that was it. She then got kind of taken by Alice to get ready for the solstice. So she didn't even get to go and make sure that it was Tamlin was actually there and she wasn't just imagining it.
Right. So yeah, she gets her all ready.
Yes, the blue chiffon gown.
Blue chiffon. What is chiffon? I still don't know.
Oh,
did we discuss this?
No, but it's like a gauzy, like it's very light. Kind of. I actually have a dress with chiffon, like literally sitting over here. It's the dress I'm gonna wear to my cousin's wedding next week. But it's over there. I'm not gonna go get it.
So not necessarily see through, but like.
But usually like similar to tulle.
Okay.
I would say it is this like lighter but like layered and very pigmented. So yeah.
Alice gets her ready.
Yes, she does.
She ends up at the solstice. It's like very festive.
Well, I was gonna say, can we talk about like how gussied up they make her? Yeah, because like this is a girl who is the most comfortable in a tunic and pants.
Right.
And it's this flowing cornflower blue chiffon gown. Her hair is left unbound but woven with garland of pink, white, and blue wildflowers around the crown of her head. So she's got this beautiful crown.
Wildflowers.
Like wildflower, right. Yeah, and like she was like all of a sudden she like notices that like she is a woman. She has soft curves and all of this stuff because she has gained weight and all of this stuff.
Actually eaten for several months.
Yeah. And when Lucian sees her, he has to remark that she looks fey. Like he is absolutely stunned by this fact. And even she was looking for Tamlin though, so of course. We can't pay attention to the fact that he says I look like Faye. And
because we're not here for this isn't a wide choose. So
no, unfortunately it's not. But she even acknowledges in her narrative that she was too busy looking for Tamlin to thank Lucian for the compliment. And even Tamlin murmurs, "You look lovely." And apparently his soft tone made her want to purr.
Oh, I missed that part. I don't remember
Uh-huh.
that.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, that's weird, honey. Because really, it was just like, you look lovely.
Ugh.
That's how I took it. Like, really, like, you had to beg him. Like, well, what do you think?
Right.
You look lovely.
You look lovely.
Right. Like, sure. That's the fourth dress you've put on today. You look lovely. Like, that's the exasperation that I got.
Yeah.
Um, and then she does ask, like, she's surprised that she's allowed to participate. And as Lucian responds with, "Unfortunately for you and your neck, tonight is just a party, not a ritual. So you can
Not a
just
ritual.
party. You're not allowed to be a part of the rituals."
Our man Lucian just making those remarks. I
Love
love
it.
them.
I love it. I love it. And then yeah, but I love that she gives it back to him. She's like, "Do you just lie awake all night thinking about your witty replies?"
Yes.
100%.
Hmm.
Of course, that's what we all do it.
Oh yeah. It's
Since
like I can't
Lucian
wait.
is not immune.
One of these days she's gonna look great. I'm gonna say something.
I'm gonna
And then
say
I'm gonna
something.
and then I'm gonna and I'm gonna joke
Sorry, I'm
about the
gonna get my comeback
solstice.
ready.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna
Um,
call him Tamiflu.
Tamiflu, right? um, and then yeah, they talk about the solstice celebrates when the sun outshines the night as the longest day of the year. It's when everyone gets to take down their hair and just enjoy being a fairy. Um, just fairies, not divided into their hierarchy or anything. They just are existing and enjoying a party
Hmm.
with singing, dancing, and excessive drinking.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which she is warned not to drink.
She is told
Not to drink.
not to drink the fairy wine.
Amanda, what does she do?
She drinks the fairy
She
wine.
drinks the fairy
Of
wine.
course, she drinks the
Of course
fairy
she
wine.
does. Like they would have been better off just being like, there's fairy wine.
Right.
They just not said anything. Have as much as you would like
I honestly, she does the opposite
of
of
everything.
what they tell her.
Whatever,
So they need to start just telling her, you should drink gallons of this
just as much
stuff.
as you could consume. Oh, I'm not gonna drink it, just take a drop.
Right.
That's how I imagine it would
What are
be.
they doing? What are they doing? Why do they want me to drink it?
Please come to the summer solstice. Maybe that's what they were thinking. You are going to go to the summer solstice. And maybe that's what Alice was thinking by
Mhm.
making her go. Maybe then she wouldn't show up.
Right, exactly. Um,
How
and
this girl survived this long is
I have no idea.
fathomable.
It really is. It's truly. But
You're
yeah, so
lucky
she
you're the
and
main character, Farah.
correct. Because yeah, her and Lucian have a little, back and forth about it, about how she's like takes a sniff of it and he's like, "Oh, I'm serious, like you need to
I'll
put
do
that
it.
down. Like you don't need any part of it." And what does she do? She lifts the glass to her lips and he's like, "Remember the last time you ignored my warning?" As he poked her in the neck.
I just want to imagine. I just like imagine. I've been watching anime lately, so I just imagine like an anime illusion just going boop boop boop, just
Yep.
like popping her in the neck. She's just sitting there with like the scrunched
Right,
up
like right
eyes.
in the jugular is what I'm thinking, where it's gonna make you like,
Remember what happened?
yep, yep. And yeah, the next thing she knew, she was half delirious and falling all over herself.
Yeah, yeah. They're
She
having
is
a
drunk.
blast, but she is having a blast. She's
Oh,
like
she absolutely is.
dancing around, just like
Hmm. She
kicking
had
it.
hallucinations for hours after. Um, oh, this was a trick Lucian had played on her that we don't get to read about, except for in this moment. Is that she goes, "I remember you telling me how witch berries were harmless, and the next thing I knew, I was half delirious and falling all over myself. And recalling the afternoon from a few weeks ago, I had hallucinations for hours afterward." And I'm like,
Kind
okay,
of wish we did get to read
right.
about
Like, I want that. I want to
that.
see that because it's going to be a very similar situation with the fairy wine because she does drink it
Yeah, yeah.
and chugs the entire glass.
And basically can't tell.
Yeah.
if I remember, it was just like dancing colors and just that's the
Oh
image I got.
yeah.
It's
So
just
she
like
chugs it. He's like, God, you're such a fool. And then she starts, I'm going to paint you, and giggles.
I'm
Starts
gonna
giggling.
paint you.
He wants to paint his auburn because she's talking about how his auburn hair burned like hot metal and his russet eye smoldered like a bottomless forge. Like she is like
Hot for him, it sounds like, really.
apparently all of a sudden.
I mean, it's just loosening those morals a little bit with a little social lubrication.
Yeah, well, and before she could be stopped, she had a second glass.
I do, yeah.
So she had two two glasses, and then yeah, she was powerless against the lure of the music and just has to start
Just need to
dancing
just need to
barefoot because she
dance.
lost her shoes.
Right.
Shoes gone. Fuck them. No more
I,
shoes.
I have 2 glasses of wine on an empty stomach, and that's how I am. Like, I can't imagine drinking like you have drinking like moonshine, like glasses of moonshine. That's how I imagine it.
I
Just
mean, I
like
can have two glasses and I'm fine, but
good for you, but
I'm
me.
different.
Just imagine, she hasn't been eating lately. She's been,
It's true.
she hasn't been sleeping. You're just slamming fairy wine,
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Yeah, and Lucian is just trying to wrangle her.
Is she? Yeah.
Like, he's trying to pull her away from the musicians. So she's like, you don't need to be dancing, you're such a drunken idiot and all of this
Hmm.
stuff. And then that's when we find out that one of the musicians is Tamlin
Yeah. What is he doing?
playing the fiddle.
He's fiddling.
Yeah, revealing the chords of his muscle along his
Yes.
forearms.
This is my like favorite Tamlin moment.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm not really sure why, but I like this like, been gone. I do remember this because I remember thinking like he's been gone, he may or may not be back, and then all of a sudden he's just fucking wailing on this fiddle.
Yeah,
He's
you know
just
what?
bending those strings.
Because it's something interesting that we have not seen out of this man yet.
You could just stop with something
Wow,
interesting out of
okay.
this man. Like that's pretty much it.
Correct. I mean, yeah, like I mean the saucy limericks were
That's
kind of
okay.
interesting,
Yeah, yeah. But he
but
was like
not really because it
right.
just made sense for him being this warrior.
And even then it was just kind of like him trying to use those
Word.
adjectives that she had pulled from. Anyway, we know this, and he's actually. I remember he like smiles at her, and instead of like in his normal fashion, like worrying about her or like causing a scene with her, he just kind of like ends up smiling and fiddling with her as she like dances on.
Yeah, he just
So
basically tells Lucian, "Don't worry about it. I'll
like,
look after her. You go." And Lucian's like, "I'm out, bro."
please, thank you, thank
Out.
God.
And she, of course, is upset about this. I don't need a keeper. I am a strong and independent woman, drunk on fairy wine.
I make just good decisions all the time.
Right.
They're
Right.
all good decisions.
And yeah, this is when Tamlin whispers to her to dance.
Dance. Does he say like,
Yeah.
is it
He
just
says
dance?
dance Feyre.
Dance fair. That's it.
He whispered, yeah.
And that's a good moment. I mean, that's
It,
like,
it is a nice, like it is a little sensual, but
yeah.
it's just like dance. You're drunk on fairy wine, like enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean it's like a night out. It's like you're going to like the club and
Mhm.
you've did it. You can't undo the drink, right? So when you're
Right.
it's almost like I don't even see them as like a intimate couple at that point. It's just like a good friend being like, you just dance. Just enjoy this moment, ride out this or like, if somebody's like I don't know if you've been around people doing drugs, but like, somebody like maybe dropping something they shouldn't have or like having a bad
Right.
high and you're like, look, just ride this out.
You
Like
just gotta ride it out. Like
just
and get
enjoy
you we're gonna
yourself.
hydrate you
Uh-huh.
and we're gonna ride this out.
We're gonna get you some water, and otherwise you just do it, like it's what's done is done. You slam the fairy wine. Let's just have this night. And it was just I think that was like a real excuse me, that was a real like sweet, cool moment with Tamlin because he's no one's like she's like up in the musicians area and
She
and
is.
and she and he's just like it's okay, she could stay. And it's like the Lord of the Court just fiddling with the other.
So yes, they're having this nice moment.
Yeah.
He even does a solo on his fiddle for her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which
Dude
I
can
thought was
jam.
kind of cute. Like, okay, I'm going to read some of this because she talks about how like they played this joyous music. Um, and then she sashayed over to my fairy lord, my protector and warrior, my friend, and danced before him. Come on, honey. You sashayed.
She's drunk.
She drunk. She white
She
girl wasted. She
she
really is.
Speaking that Sutner home, just like that
Yeah.
juice wine, lots of it.
Yep. And then yeah, that's when he knelt and did his little solo on his fiddle.
Mm.
Her body slithering like a snake.
I forgot. I did not. No, I don't remember that part.
Descriptors are like
It's just like I just imagine just like the worst dancing
right.
ever. Not like
Not coordinated.
no, just like on the floor. Like I'm gonna do the worm and just like flailing about on the floor.
And then he put his fiddle down and he grabs her as she's dancing, and starts spinning her around and is dancing then with her.
Mhm.
And let's see. Oh, and then let's see.
He takes
Um,
her to the meadow.
yes, yeah,
Um,
yeah. He goes. I want to tell her that he wants to show her something better. And so yeah, he leads her off the hill, navigating his way by moonlight.
you know what this means.
Right.
Oh yes,
Oh
it's
yeah.
happening.
Right. So
It's
they he
happening.
comes to this vast meadow.
Uh-huh.
Um, let's see. He put a finger to his lips and beckoned me to look. And for a few minutes there was nothing. And then from the opposite side of the meadow, dozens of shimmering shapes floated across the grass. It was the will o' the wisps,
All right.
which
Yeah. All
is
right. It's
cool.
time. Yeah, no, that's very cool. But it's time. This is
Mhm.
it, right? Then what
Yeah.
happens?
They kind of have this moment.
Uh-huh.
She's
Uh-huh. And
feeling unburdened. They're talking. He
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
whispers into her head. He does. I love that. We whispered onto my
and
head.
under a head. Okay. I didn't remember that part.
He made
That's
my name sound beautiful, Feyre. He whispered again, not in question, but simply as if he enjoyed saying it.
and
Um,
then
and then it's almost dawn, which she feels the need, to mention that it's almost dawn.
uh-huh.
The stars were fading, the sky had turned grayish purple. He wet his lips, his breathing as uneven as my own. His fingers contracted against the plane of my lower back, and I let
Thirst
him tug
meters
me closer
rising.
to him
Thirst meters rising. This
until
is
our
it.
bodies were touching. The warmth of him seeped into me. I had my head tilted back to see his face. His mouth was caught somewhere between a smile and a wince. And he says, I'm thinking I might kiss you.
And a wince. And then
Yeah.
and then
And then she says to do it.
uh-huh.
And his lips brushed mine, testing soft and warm. He pulled back a little. He was still staring at me, and I stared right back as he kissed me again, harder, but nothing like the way he'd kissed my neck.
And then
That's it. I mean, she does say that's it. That's it. I demanded. And then he kissed me more fiercely.
and then nothing. And
And
then
then that's
nothing
it. Nothing.
again.
Then they
And
go
then
home.
nothing.
Yeah, they sat on the
Nothing.
crest, watched the sunrise.
Nothing.
She
If
says it was the happiest moment of her life.
my kids weren't sleeping, I'd be screaming right now because this is
That's it.
absurd. It's absurd. I know it's coming up, but like, it's absurd. Absurd. Why
We're
wasn't this
25 chapters in,
25 chapters in and
and
we
we
still
kiss.
just
We had our first kiss.
get some kisses?
Got some good kisses.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, she gets one last deep and thorough, unhurried, intent kiss. And then that was it.
okay, like having sex in front of the will o' the wisps. I mean, come on.
I
That's got to be
know.
like, that's like that. That's the time.
Yeah, I would think.
Like
I mean, I would
Tam a man,
I love
Tammy
this if
Tam.
this would have happened 15 chapters ago.
Right. If it had already happened and then this is just like a central moment that didn't,
Yeah.
yeah, I get that.
Mhm.
But now it's just,
Or like this was if this
I
whole
don't,
summer solstice thing happened earlier in the book and this was their first still their first kiss, but it happened way longer. Because 25 chapters is obscene. I'm
You can bring
sorry.
the thirst meter back down. Nothing
Yeah,
happened. It's over.
it's
Yeah, I
it was
know.
there was some buildup.
I didn't write the book.
We got
You complained to her.
you write the letter, Bob.
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 Like I know. Jeez. Anyway.
Right. And
Yeah, no,
then
this is absurd. This is absurd. This
that
was
ends
the
our
chance.
chapter.
Right.
That's chapter 25. That's it.
That is it. Chapter 25 ends.
Mhm.
Still no sex.
And then it's the next day, and they're
Yes.
having lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because they were all slept
Because
in.
they missed breakfast.
They missed breakfast. They were all so tired
It's
from
just
their night of revelry.
it was just a long night. It's just, very
I
busy
get it.
night. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, making out by the will of the wisps, you know.
It had nothing to do with how much fairy wine we gulped down. We probably had a
Yes.
massive hangover, which I think they do talk about.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I so Lucian immediately, like this man does not. So it's they're all their breakfast. Ever since I'd complained about the unnecessary of the ties of the table, we'd taken to dining in a much reduced version. Lucian was rubbing his temples and was unusually silent
Mm.
until she asked, "And where were you last night?" And he narrows his eyes and he goes, "I'll have you know that while you two were dancing with the spirits, I was on border patrol."
Mm.
Um, and then he goes, "But the rumor has it you two didn't come back until after dawn."
Mm. Did you
What
guys
did
have
you
sex?
do?
No,
Right,
no.
nope,
Oh,
no, no.
still no? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. And so her and Tamlin kind of share a look and stuff. She talks about how she practically floated into my bed that morning. And she goes, she says to Tamlin, "You bit my neck on fire night. If I can face you after that, a few kisses are nothing."
She ain't wrong.
Um, it's true. She is not
Yep.
wrong.
She's not wrong.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so they're kind of having conversation. The blight
Yep.
conversation turns towards the blight here. Um, it took out 2 dozen of the younglings from the winter court. So 2 dozen gone, basically,
Which is a lot.
stolen away. Yeah, like
Yeah,
24
because
young kids. I mean, essentially.
and if we haven't learned, I think we've already learned that like fairies don't have many offspring, and it's kind of like
Mhm.
few and far between kind of thing. So 24 is like a big deal. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's
Um,
like, yeah. So this blight is like killing people, is what she's finally realizing, and that it often kills children.
yeah.
Um, and yes, and Feyre kind of goes in and again, like, kind of reiterating that like children are rare.
Yeah.
So the loss of so many would be more than devastating, is what she says. They talk about that the blight is capable of hurting us in ways you can't imagine, as I think where they're going with this, when all of a sudden Tamlin shoots to his feet, flipping his chair, unsheathed his claws, and snarled at an open doorway, canines long and gleaming.
Shit just went down.
Something is happening. Get to the Feyre. Get to the Feyre.
Get to the Pharaoh.
Get Feyre to the window is what he tells
I kind of like the other way better.
I you.
Get
Get
to
to
the Pharaoh.
the yes, we have to get to the Feyre
Can
and
you
save
imagine
her.
can you imagine like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger playing
Get to the
Hamlin?
Feyre.
Get to the Pharaoh.
Yes. Um
That'd be so good. It would be so good.
that. I love that. I really do. So yeah, Lucian grabs her,
Takes her to
puts
the
her by the
window,
curtains. Yeah.
and he puts his back to her and
Yes.
faces towards
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
whatever's coming.
Yeah. So yeah, though his sword pointed at the floor, Lucian's grip tightened on me until his knuckles turned white.
Mhm.
And then there was a glamour to try to conceal me, to make me a part of Lucian, invisible, hidden by the fairy's magic and scent. And she peers over his shoulder at Tamlin, who took a long breath, sheathed his claws and fangs. And that's when someone walks in.
Oh, oh no,
Yeah,
not
first
someone.
you think about the she thinks it's the adder again.
Yeah.
Um, But then footsteps sounded in the hall, even strolling casual.
Mm-hmm.
And then he appeared. No mask. And he, like the adder, belonged to something else, someone else. And worse, I'd met him before.
Mm-hmm.
Saved me from those three fairies on Fire Night. And we learn
Mm-hmm.
who our most beautiful man, that she says this is the most beautiful man she's ever
The
seen.
most beautiful man. Yes. The current most beautiful man. But
I mean, he surpasses Tamlin, and she was making out with Tamlin that morning.
it's
So
true. It's true.
he's wearing rich clothing cloaked in tendrils of night, an ebony tunic brocade with gold and silver, dark pants, black boots that went to his knees. Those are some boots,
Dude,
man.
those are that's a lot of boot.
That's a lot of boot. That's more boot than I traditionally wear. And I love a boot.
It takes a special man to wear that
That's a
amount of
lot
boot.
of boot.
That's a lot of boot.
Yeah. And High Lord, he says,
He had
inclining his head.
huge boots.
Right. Huge boots. No, that's for book two
Sorry,
with
sorry.
the wing.
All right. I was just thinking of like Monty Python, Search
Right.
for Holy Grail. She had huge tracts of land.
That's exactly it.
So good. Anyway,
Um,
sorry. Keep
yeah,
going.
no. And then
Can we just say
Tamlin
it?
responds to him.
Uh-huh.
What do you want, Rysand?
Hmm. We got it.
Uh-huh.
We
And
have
we
the
got our
name.
name.
Got our name.
Rysand.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And he talks about the fox mask that Lucian is wearing. Um Rysand is they paint him very interesting in this moment.
So
He's
yeah,
giving Maleficent,
because like
like
you mean
dark and broody. Yes.
the character, yeah.
Like,
Definitely. Like tendrils, like flowing, like
mhm.
smoke, shadow, smokiness, like
I also love
exuding
that he
from him.
refers to Tamlin and Lucian as the rabble.
The
It's always a pleasure dealing with the rabble.
Dealing the rabble, of
I'm
course.
like, I love this. You are so superior.
Oh, dude,
Superior Reese is superior.
just like the
Oh,
pompousness
it's
of
so
him.
good. It's
It is
also
quite
giving
wonderful.
Snape,
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Except if Snape was
Alan
like,
Rickman Snape.
and he was like totally bombastic hot, like just like
Oh,
a
yeah.
10, just
Uh-huh.
like I mean things probably would happen a lot differently if Snape was like a 10.
Correct.
I mean, I'm sure you could tell me about fanfic where
Oh, there's absolutely, I'm sure there's fanfic for that. I
uh
mean, Snilly is such a big ship.
who's
Snape and Lily.
which
Snilly.
one's Lily? Dude, it's been
His
forever.
mom,
Right. Because they had a
a thing.
thing.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Anyway, back we got Rysand. And
So
yeah,
Rysand is here.
and he's not even holding back. He's just taunting them and just like
Yep.
it's obvious he has like the upper hand
Mhm.
in their conversation and everything that's going on because all they can do is just kind of bark back at him and he's just it's always just kind of like watch your tongue. Like you should be careful what you're saying.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
so we know the gift, the severed head, was from Reese.
Yeah.
So we learned that. Um, we also learned that it has been 49 years since the blight has showed up. Um, and Tamlin's kind of just holed up for 49 years in the spring court.
Hmm.
Yep. And Lucian feels the need to call Reese Amarantha's whore.
Which is the first time we hear this name as well.
Yes,
Or do we?
Amarantha. I think it is
Because the Adler didn't the Ader, sorry. No, that
Adder.
yeah, the Adder. Sorry.
Yeah.
Brain fart there.
No, you're fine.
He I don't think
Mm-mm.
whatever it is.
It mentioned her. There's been a lot of her
Okay,
and
yes, but
he,
never
but we have not
Amarantha's.
had a name.
Yeah. And so this is the first time we hear it. Um, and Versand casually wants Tamlin to punish Lucian, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, well, and his response is he is not in any way like offended by the use of this like terminology. He's just
Right.
like, that might be, but I did it. I have my reasons
Hmm.
for why I did this. At least I haven't bided my time among the hedges and flowers while the world has gone to hell, which I think
Ouch.
is, yeah, that's
That's
shady.
a burn, yep.
Yeah, he's reading them and I love it.
Do you mind? Do you
What's she
uh,
doing?
she's like she is right under here, just like basically doing the bread loaf on a keyboard almost. Just it's on my mouse.
No.
Ow! Hey, hey,
Attack.
there.
And
Sorry.
yeah, and then we find out about Lucian's mom.
I don't
Apparently
remember this
Lucian's,
part.
yeah, so they're bickering back and forth. You've just let the world go to hell. Lucian's obviously offended by this, being like, oh, if that's what you think I've been doing, oh, wait till you see what I have for you. um, and Reese responds with, you certainly gave them something to talk about when you switched to spring. Such a sad thing to see your lovely mother in perpetual mourning over losing you.
Is this okay? And we learn more about what happened to him in just a second, I believe.
Mm. I believe so, yeah.
But it's at this point
Yeah, so
he
they're
realizes the table was
yeah.
set for three.
So yeah,
He's like, I
they're
see. Yeah,
having this.
and Farah realizes Farah kind of puts it together because he's looking at the table and he's like looking around. He's like, sees that something's going on. Is like, there's the table set for three, but I only see two of you. And he
Yeah,
gets,
where's your guest? He
yeah,
says, like he
yeah.
just plainly puts it out there. Where's your guest? Oh, I
And,
sent them off when I sensed your rival. Tamlin lied. And then Reese figures out, no, he's been being glamored.
and he is pissed.
Which
I
I
mean,
get.
oh
Like
yeah, no, it's a hard flip.
it is,
It
but
sounds like
like
it
I
sounds
think
like.
it's deserved because
Oh
it does
sure,
seem
yeah,
like
yeah.
this there is an honor code here between because obviously Rysand is a lord in his own right. He is the High Lord of the Night Court.
Hmm.
So he and Tamlin are of equal, like they
Right.
are at the same level, and
Yeah.
so to use your power like to use power magic like that against somebody who is your equal.
I think it's also just like it's almost just like you think I would like I am you understand how powerful I am and you thought this would work. Like
That
he's
well,
almost like
that as well.
insulted
That
that
yes.
you tried to do that you tried to glamour me.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah. But so Feyre is revealed.
yeah, he like doesn't he just like Lucian tries to stop him or something
Yeah,
or
let's
just
see
like
here.
tosses him aside like it's nothing. Um
Yeah, he whipped his head to Lucian. Magic seared my nostrils, and I stared at his Lucian. You
yep.
dare clamor me? He growled, and then Lucian tried to press her harder into the wall. Um, Rasan's face became a mask of calm fury as he stared and stared at me. I remember you, he purred. It seems like you ignored my warning to stay out of trouble. And then he asks Tamlin, who is your guest, and Lucian says, this is my betrothed.
Hmm. And he kind of makes a comment like, "Didn't you learn your lesson last time?"
Yeah, he's like, oh, interesting. I thought you were still mourning your commoner lover after all these centuries. I was like, wow.
Damn, dude, no pulls, no punches.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Yeah, venom coated smile. Like, and this is such a stark like contrast to like I think who Rysand becomes.
Well, it's and for a reason, right? I mean, maybe it's kind of like retconning the story, him into the story, but like, he's kind of like putting up, well, I don't want to say too much, but definitely
Well,
trying
but
to,
I think a lot of this is so I think a lot of that, like the what we're getting of him is it's giving me very similar to like how so many people think about Slytherin in Harry Potter.
Right.
because everything is told from Harry's point of view.
So of
So
course
of
they're this
course
shitty house.
they're the
That's like
worst.
right, yeah. Yes, I
And
see
they're
what
all
you
evil and they're all Draco Malfoy.
yep.
When it's like, no,
I
no, like
agree with
Horse
you.
Slughorn was a Slytherin.
And they this whole like picture is painted by everyone that's
Mhm.
just so terrible. Yeah.
Right. Like this whole court is so anti Night Court that they have filled her head with these prejudices and these
Mhm.
biases that she would not have. And so she's like, well, they don't have, and I will agree that like she should take their word because what do they gain from lying?
Right.
But obviously you realize they're not lying, they just are their perception is off.
Right. It's skewed.
It's
Or even like
very skewed.
I mean the Harry Potter reference is great because it's like,
Mhm.
oh well, Voldemort was Slytherin, therefore
All
wasn't he
Slytherin.
all Slytherin are
Well, yeah,
bad.
because so we know Voldemort was, Snape is a Slytherin, and you don't like Snape for a long
No,
time because it's
you're
all
not
from Harry's
and
perspective.
you are not supposed to like yeah, you are not supposed to like Snape. Like,
Mm-mm.
yeah, of
And then Draco,
course. Well, but
Slytherin, and he kind of earns it.
yeah,
But also,
he's
like, there's a whole thing that there's a guy I follow on TikTok, and I don't know if you will love this guy. His name is Julian. He is a
okay.
professor uh, at some university in I forget where. I
You
would know
say
it.
Professor of Harry Potter
he he does a course every year
on
and
Harry
they
Potter?
look on Harry Potter and they talk about like the social societal norms, prejudice, implicit bias because he comes at it from that diversity angle. So like he does like a whole comparison about why are the Weasleys considered better than the Malfoys?
Right.
Because both are pure blood families,
Hmm.
but is it just because like the Weasleys are considered good because they just don't have a negative thought. They don't care for Muggles. They just don't have enough. They just don't have any thought to it.
Right.
Whereas the Malfoys actively hate Muggles.
Right.
And it's like, well, so but what's the difference there? Because honestly, they're not going out to do any. They're not doing anything
To
to
anyone.
change anything.
Right. Right. Right.
Like there's no active hatred, but they're not doing anything to try and change the non-magic versus magic feud.
True. I will say the Malfoys, though. I mean, with
But it
um,
just gives you something to think
well,
about,
sure, yeah, 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 yeah. I
Um,
get that. Yeah, but absolutely. I mean, that's especially with like
I'm
not
gonna plug him just because I think he is fabulous and I think he makes great content. It's Doctor. Let me find it. I'm trying to find what his handle is. Okay, yeah. So it's Julian Wamble. He's a PhD. He's at Prof W, so PROFW. Um, and he does critical magic theory, is what he's calling it.
that's cool.
But yeah, like talks about like um is Narcissa a hero? you know some of her other like is she talks about he talks about like Ron Weasley, and like is he like what did he bring up? It was really interesting because you're like, oh yeah, oh, does Ron resent Hermione because she's Muggle born?
Hmm, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Imposter syndrome and Voldemort. Does he have imposter syndrome?
Hmm.
Are the Weasleys good wizards or are they good purebloods? Like, there's some really like
There's something.
interesting critical thought here.
There's some. I think it's even on another layer of that is knowing like Rawlings
Mhm.
is some of her more recent uh some of the more things that she's come out and said that maybe aren't the best for her
Correct.
image.
No, I do
Um,
not.
but yeah, but I think
Um,
that paints a very interesting picture a lot with alongside of that. So that's
well, and I will
fascinating.
say, I really do love that. Yes, when you look at her text, you can see some of her perspective.
Right.
in it once you look at it with this like critical eye.
Mhm.
Um, but like I think it's hysterical that this woman basically raised an entire generation to stand up for injustice. And the minute she started participating in the injustice was surprised that they came after her.
Right.
Like you raised us to do
Like
this.
I don't, why don't you see it? Why don't you see this? Why don't you
Like,
understand?
why are you surprised that we turned on you too?
Right.
Like, which I adore that. I'm like, I think that is the most like the karma in that is just, I think, phenomenal.
I never quite thought of it like that, but yeah, that's good. I like
Like
that. I like that.
she really has gotten everything she like. Were you really surprised when you taught people like there's so many good lessons in your books that people took
Mhm.
away that the minute you started being a not so great person, we called you on it.
But yeah, we're gonna call your shit.
Yeah,
That's how it goes.
we're
Like you,
correct.
you did this to
You,
yourself.
you really did. You could have stayed unproblematic, but no,
You decided to say something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Foot, mouth.
Yes. Insert.
So, but yeah, so like back to Rysand and
Yeah, there's definitely this image
yes.
that's being painted. And I see what you're saying because it is from a point of view that it's only from one point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it seems like he leans into it though at this point because
Or is that just Feyre's interpretation because she's expecting him to be evil?
I don't know. I mean,
I
he's
mean, he
slamming
definitely
Lucian.
likes to toy with that.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, like, you don't do that because you're inherently a good person or
Well, okay, like I said, I do think like if we're gonna put these people into houses here, I think
okay,
Tamlin definitely is Gryffindor. He definitely acts before he thinks.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Like he is a true Gryffindor. And I do
Yes.
think Reese falls into Slytherin. But the
Okay.
thing about Slytherins is that they are cunning.
Sure. Sure.
But the thing about Slytherins that I think is like the most important is that Slytherins do have a moral compass. It doesn't always align with everybody else's,
Sure.
but they have their compass that they follow strictly and fiercely.
So knowing what I know, I'd agree with you, but at this point in the book, I would
It's
not.
correct. I mean, I think
Yeah.
this is definitely like coming from some hindsight into this.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because we're having these kind of conversations about it,
Like at this point in the book, my honest to goodness thought was like, okay, we actually have
a villain.
a villain or at least at
Mhm.
very least like the
Antagonist.
thank you. I don't know why I can come up with it. Yeah, he is our
Yes.
antagonist or is becoming our antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Which up to this point we haven't really had one in a
No, there's
constant
been like
form.
hints at it's like you've had
Yeah,
some kind of like almost monster of the week style
right.
antagonist, but nothing like other than like mentions of the blight. And then now we have Rhysand and Amarantha, and we know that they are consorting
Right.
together
In a couple ways,
in a
yes.
few ways.
In a few
Correct.
ways. Yeah, well, we'll move on, but yeah, yes.
And
Like that
we
was my thinking. It's like, okay, so this
mhm.
is because and knowing and also knowing it's a series, I also knowing like, okay, well, the person in which um, you know, the they're not going to put the main baddie in the first book.
Well, that's correct. But also I will say, like, I was wondering, I will say, I
Mhm.
because of when I read this, I had seen like all this Resand love.
That's true. And I knew
So I
that
was primed, I think,
yeah.
to start to like him.
And I still thought and knowing all this, I still thought he was the antagonist
Oh
of this
yeah, I
book.
definitely thought
Um, but well, that changes.
it does.
That changes, and
And it will start to change in this book. I mean, we
yeah,
will get
yeah.
to those chapters.
More
As
importantly,
also
we
we're
have a
getting
new favorite main character.
We
I think,
do.
or at least a
Well,
character,
because remember,
sidekick.
I think when he first showed up, our stranger
Right, right, yeah,
on
yeah.
Fire Night,
You're right.
we still put him above. It
You're
was
right. Not,
him and the mercenary and Lucian.
yeah, not new. It's just he has a name now.
He just has a name. We have a name for our dark stranger. It's
Right. It's
Sand.
no longer Dark Stranger. It's Rosand. It's him.
Mm-hmm. He's
Rosand, Mercenary, Lucian, and then I don't know some other people.
Alice. Alice definitely ranks above Tamlin and Feyre.
Feyre, yeah. I put Feyre above Tamlin, I think.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Tam. Come on, Timmy
Timmy
Tam.
Tam. He's just so white bread. Like he is Wonder
Oh no,
Bread.
yeah, absolutely.
He's
He
fine.
no, yeah, no. I mean, I think as like he's just it's is my problem with I mean, like you're dissecting it, you're pulling apart like the fiction from
Mhm.
the believing it and the actual fiction and the reading. It's like if you're looking at it from a realistic like world, yes, he's the guy, right?
Yeah.
But like from reading it in like a good story, it's like this is bland. Like you said, this is
He's
just
white bread. Like it's one of those.
white
I
bread.
wanted I'm making a turkey sandwich. Oh, I don't have rye, which I really wanted a marble rye, but I have white bread. Like that'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's gonna
It's
do the
like
job.
okay, we'll just put
Somebody
mustard
loves
on it
him,
later. We'll put mustard on it later. Oh, there's no
right?
mustard. Mayonnaise. Ah, that too. Oh God,
Correct. There's no aioli. It's
it's
fine.
no aioli. It's
Right.
like
Like
just
it's fine.
throw some vegetable oil on the thing and then call it a book. Yeah.
Correct. He is just. There are people out there who adore Wonder Bread. It's their favorite bread,
It's the yeah.
and that's fine.
I like me
It's just
sourdough.
not. Right. I like a sourdough. I like a marble rye. I like a
Hey,
pumpernickel.
I like to make my own sourdough.
You do. You do.
I'm
Which
not
I
sure
need to
how
come
that
back to
trans.
then sourdough school.
Sure, yeah, we'll work. We'll get on there. We'll get there.
We should. But we also find out some of Rasan's powers in this moment. Is
Yeah,
that he kind of can invade people's minds because he does start going through Feyre's mind.
and and she says it feels like tendrils just like invading her
Mm-hmm.
brain and just like I forget how they say it, but like stretching and reaching into every thought. And
Yeah, the magic. Yeah, so she talks about against my volition, my body straightened, every muscle going taut, bones straining, magic, but deeper than that, power that seized everything inside of me and took control. An invisible talon tipped hand scraped against my mind, and I knew one push, one swipe, and those mental claws, and I would cease to exist.
yeah, very
But
powerful.
yeah, it's like this.
Yep. Shadow Claw.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow Claw. Should
Right.
they should have to like yell it out like that before they do powers like anime. Shadow Claw. And then just like
Right.
anyway. Maybe not. Maybe they shouldn't do that.
And once he's doing this, Tamlin does step in and protect her and tells him to stop.
Mhm.
To which Reese goes, "Oh, I forgot that your mortal
Reading.
minds are so fragile."
Yeah. Um, doesn't he get
And let's see.
information from her at that point or no? Does he get nothing?
Not
Oh,
really.
yes,
Just
yes, he does.
that he does. Like, look how
That
delightful she is.
he's like, oh, the things she thinks about you, Tamlin, and he instantly
Right.
figures out that it's not Lucian's.
Betrothed.
Yeah, and that it's
Mhm.
that she is the dirty things this one thinks about you, Tamlin, or something like along those
Amarantha will
lines.
enjoy breaking her.
Ah, okay,
Mhm.
lovely. So yeah, oh, he forces Tamlin. He's like, if you want me to stop, kind of a thing, get down and
Yep.
beg. And
Yes.
this is a real pansy move. Like, you know,
I
is
love
she?
that Lucian and Tamlin comply.
Oh, dude, they don't even fight it. Like, and I think here's another issue I have with like Tamlin. It's like you are this high lord. I get that you are, there's some shit going down in your world. You don't have all your power, but like if someone's fucking around with my woman, my someone's fucking around with my wife. I don't care how powerless I am. I'm gonna do my damnedest to stop you. I don't care about the
Right.
repercussions. You're doing some shit. I don't think that's not how that flies. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
they do. They both lower to their knees and
and
they
they
grovel
grovel.
at his
They
feet.
grovel.
And I think this really does put, I think, a point on the very fine Wonder Bread that is Tamlin.
Hmm.
You're far too desperate, Tamlin. It's off-putting.
It's awesome.
He had to get another jab in there.
Sand, so
Um,
good.
so
I
good.
love
And
your
then
sand.
he does come back up to Feyre and he asked her, "What's your name, love?" And so she's going through her whole brain of should I give him her name? And instead she says that her name is Claire Better,
Hmm.
who was a
Which,
friend of her sister's.
yeah, someone else in where she used to
Mm-hmm.
in her old
In the
life.
village. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, who she'd never spoken to, and she couldn't even think of her face, but she knew her name. And so she said Claire Better. And with that, um, he takes off. Brisand, yeah, vanished into nothing,
Pieces
but
out.
not before saying that he will give Amarantha your regards.
Hmm.
And that is the end of chapter 26.
Some shit.
It is some shit.
That is a scene. That was I like and I liked it. Like
Oh,
that's
it's
like your
so
blood pump.
good.
I still have a hard time believing. I think this is another reason why I don't like Tamlin as a character is because like I see that being Lucian, being like
Because he is lesser.
yeah, he is lesser, but he's very witty, and I think it's a great counter to him to be like, okay, like I am gonna be subservient in this instance and be like, like he's shown that before where he actually does get scared, and it's
Yeah.
like, but it seems weird for Tamlin, who's uh, well, we'll get more into it, but yeah, like it's like, dude, you are obviously about this person, and like you just kind of let this happen.
Hmm.
I get it. This guy he's got the upper hand. He's powerful.
Yeah. And he has no qualms about using his power, which I think is what scares Tamlin and Lucian, is he doesn't
Yeah,
hesitate.
no, he
Um,
just puts it out there.
yeah, and he did. He just went for Feyre's mind. Like he was like, I need to, I want to know. So he just went on in. That was that,
Yeah.
like, which I get. Like it does come across very ruthless and just like, you know,
Well, it does paint. I will say this, it does paint a picture of like we know that he's Amarantha's whore, whatever that means. I mean, well, other than the obvious context, but like, um, is he like right hand man kind of a thing? Is he number two
right.
commander? But it obviously shows that like he has no, yeah, like you said, disregard for the use of magic. Like he doesn't care. He just does
Mhm.
whatever he wants. Whereas like it seems like everyone else in the spring court is kind of like reserved or
Yes.
powerless or wearing a
Right. And
mask and this
and
affected
is
by this
that just
blight.
like is that age? Because like we know Rasan says that like he'd been battling stuff before you were born. So like
Mhm.
is Rasan just so much because he's so much older, just has more power? Has honed his power better?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
an interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I said, they make that a point.
yeah. Well, yeah, and we know that his power is less, right?
Yeah,
Because of yeah. Anyway,
the blight,
right, the blight.
but the blight does not seem to be affecting Rasan.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's true.
And if this is
Um,
him suppressed, whoa.
dude's got some big dick energy.
Yeah,
For
he does.
show. For
Oh, he does.
show.
Oh my
Like
God. The BDE. Oh
that
my
is
God.
just man.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Good thing he was wearing dark colors because otherwise you'd be able to see that thing. If that dude was wearing some gray pants,
It would
be
be, it's just
there
be a
is
problem.
no concealing.
None.
None.
We've learned about this, the
It,
gray sweatband.
the pants
That's why he wears the tall boots.
yes, I was saying it's like it's not the boots don't go up to his knees. It's the line is the boots go up to his dick. It's what
That's
it would
right.
be if he was wearing gray sweatpants.
Mhm.
Uh, because damn,
Yeah.
just
He
like
does
imagine
just,
just like busting into a room, smoky, shadowy tendrils going out wherever you
yeah.
walk. Damn. Okay.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. I see you, Reese.
Well, hello. Hi. Hi. Hello. That
Hello.
was my door.
Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome.
Uh,
Um, it's getting late, but do you think we can do? You want to do chapter 27?
yeah, because I think there's only a couple of quick things. Because there's just more, yeah. they talk about the blight. I mean,
Is
really,
it
yeah.
quick? Is it going to be quick?
Well, okay,
Let's
maybe
let's
not.
let's do it. Let's just
You
I'll
want
tell
to
you
do it? You
what.
want to push?
Let's just get through the bullshit. That's the rest of
Yeah,
the early parts of this chapter and jump
yeah,
right to
because
the
it is
juicy
just like,
shit.
yeah, it's so much
So,
talking.
yeah, because at this point it's like go. It's go 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 because Tamerlane's like, okay, shit, like they know who you are, they know you're here, like
Hmm.
you're
Yeah,
leaving.
Yeah, she didn't go to dinner. They talk about it. Comes to her room then.
Uh-huh.
So he comes to her room and basically tells her, "I'm sending you home, Feyre.
Like got no choice.
That's it. I'm sending you home." And she's like, he goes, "I've taken on your life debt. Should someone come inquiring about the broken laws," she goes, "I will take responsibility for Andros's death." Um, and that's that. I mean, as far as Tamlin's concerned, that's it. And she's like, "Well, for how long?"
Right.
And again it's that same back and forth like with a toddler. But why? What is it, for a week,
Why?
for a month,
Like
a
why is this
year?
happening? Yeah.
How much time do I have to stay away from you? Like, because you can definitely tell. And I think the biggest takeaway in all of this conversation is that she has found a home
Yeah, and
here.
she feels comfortable. Like she feels
Mhm.
like, after all this time, all that complaining, she finally feels like she is, and obviously the feelings that she has for Tamlin.
Yeah.
Um, and I know, and the thought of the Suriel,
Hmm.
telling her to stick around also goes through her head.
Stay with the
Yeah,
High
and it's just kind of
Lord.
like, no, this is wrong. Like this, no, this is
Hmm.
not what should be happening. But he won't have it any other way. And she can't change his mind. He's like,
And
you're in
then she
danger. You're more danger here. I thought I could save you or I thought I
Yeah.
could protect you. It's not happening.
And then of course, then she flips, that you're not going to send me away forever, right? Not forever. And then she goes, well, but then I guess it would be easier if someone covered in thorns wasn't around, because she's thorny, prickly, sour, contrary. And this is when he kisses her and says, it won't be forever. And she takes comfort in this, knowing that he's lying.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is we're fine. Okay, guys.
Sorry, but no, what happened? What's going on?
He rests his hands on her hips.
So
Um, he traced the arc of my hip bones lingering at the edge of my undergarments. My
hold on a
nightgown
second.
had become hitched.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. That sounds like sexy talk.
Oh, it is sexy talk.
Holy shit, Bob!
What's happening?
Fire up the thing.
Yep. Yeah, he breathed my name onto my chest, one of his hands exploring the plane of my torso, rising
Thirst
up to the
meters
slope of my
going
breast.
up.
I trembled, anticipating the feel of his hand there, and his mouth found mine again as his fingers stopped just below.
What do you mean there's no fireworks? We talked about this. There's gonna be fireworks.
These
Damn it,
guys
Bob.
are having sex.
Damn it, Bob. This is
Finally.
it. Okay. This is finally. Go ahead, continue
Yes.
to whatever. Or
I
or
mean,
don't. Or we
right.
can
Don't stop. She gasps.
has he
He said
feasted
thickly,
yet?
resting his brow. Yeah, like if we keep going, I won't be able to stop at all. I
Uh-huh.
sat up and he watched me, hardly breathing, but I kept my eyes on his, my own breathing becoming steady as I raised my nightgown over my head and tossed it to the floor. Utterly naked before him, I watched his gaze travel to my bare breast, peak against the chill of the night to my abdomen, to between my thighs. A ravenous, unyielding sort of hunger passed over his face.
Pharaoh. Should just say Pharaoh.
He
So it's sort of
basically, and yeah, he lunged, a beast freed of his tether. We were a tangle of limbs and teeth, and I tore at his clothes until they were on the floor.
because there's got to be some kind of animal thing in there. Because of course.
Correct. Well, yeah, his claws were out, but devastatingly gentle on my hips as he slid down between my thighs and feasted on me, stopping only after I shuddered and fractured.
How do you feel about feasting? About the word feasted?
It does not
Feast.
bother me in that
It does.
context.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, in
No,
that
I'm good
context.
in that
But
context. Yeah.
there's other contexts in which feasting is not okay.
Yeah, it's a weird word. I don't know that I love it in just everyday conversation, but if you're feasting on me, oh,
That's
please.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. Fair.
Well, because
I
I there's something about that. Because if the way it's said usually is like you're feasting on, it's like you will die if you do not have me.
like sustenance,
I right.
like consumption.
Mhm.
Interesting. Interesting.
And that's why it works for me in that
Okay. All
in this
right. No,
context.
I
Like
didn't
I really like it.
I didn't like put those together. Like that's not how I thought of it, but yeah, no, that is a lot better than what I was
Well,
thinking,
it's
I
like in
guess.
Iron Flame when Xaden looks at a Violet and he basically tells her that you're in my castle, sitting in my chair, and you're my woman, and then proceeds to feast on her. And it's like, yes, we all need a Xaden.
We all need a Zayden.
I
Okay.
mean, I love that. I mean, my chair, my castle, my chair, my woman.
Right.
Come
No,
on.
I haven't read them. I've heard it from my wife,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
the book talk, the girls, gays, and days, they know. They know. They know. So
Okay.
she's moaning his name, which I don't think Tamlin is a great name to moan, but okay. They
Tam the
move
few
together.
flew. Tam pod. I mean, sorry. Go
um,
ahead.
we moved together, unending and wild and burning. When I went over the edge the next time, and he roared and went with me. And then they fell asleep.
And that's
She
it.
fell asleep in his arms.
It goes on
Um,
though,
they yes, a
but
little bit.
it's mostly mild at that point, right?
I mean, that's really like
Like
yeah,
that was
there's not.
it. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
it's relatively tame for even the spicy sex scene.
yeah, no,
Um,
and I remember thinking like, okay, this is it. Like this is the good stuff. And then they just kind of have sex once. Oh, no, no, they don't. They have sex like all night long, if I remember
yeah.
correctly. But we don't get any good descriptors like we got the first time.
No, I mean the most we do find out is like in one of their sessions of regaining
Ye-
energy.
Right, right.
He tells her that she's leaving tomorrow at dawn.
You need to get some sleep.
Yeah. Um,
She's like, fuck that.
yeah.
Literally.
I was leaving. Yep. And then I believe, yeah, I think it says that they made love one more time. And then as she fell asleep, she hears him whisper, "I love you," thorns and all. And then he was gone. So he didn't stay with her all night. He left in the middle of the night.
Okay.
And then
So
that
that's
ends
what's
the
up.
chapter.
So okay. Yeah, let's take a little bit of time to digest that since we're on the eating theme. Where are we? We're done, Bob. Yeah, it's over. We're, no, he's being an ass. Anyway,
Well, we don't pay him enough for this,
we
meaning we
don't.
don't pay him at
I
all.
don't pay him at all. He's imaginary. I mean, how much do you pay an imaginary person? I don't know. Anyway,
We should at least make him imaginary sourdough.
and is it imaginary salary? Imaginary sourdough? No. Yeah. So, like coming into this, I know we talked about this in the beginning. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect. Um,
It was boring.
well, okay.
Sex
So,
should never be boring. And it
uh,
was boring.
well, I mean, I think it was okay. Okay, this is me not having read much of this stuff. So, like,
No, it's fair.
that's that short spell where, basically he's going down on her, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's the extent of it, right? I mean, that's the extent of the description.
I mean, yeah,
And
it's all very innuendo based.
sure, yeah, without a lot of
You don't
descriptors,
ever
but
hear
just
about like in all of the other books that I've been currently consuming, you have that he put his tip at my entrance.
right.
He hitched my head, he
Thrust
tilted my
upon or
pelvis.
right, yeah.
He sheathed himself in me in one stroke.
Cheat.
Sheath,
Sheath. Oh, I thought you
like a
said cheat.
sheath.
I'm like, that's interesting. I don't know how
No,
that
no, no,
works.
no, a sheath for a knife.
Okay. Okay. Right, yeah, as in like the sword
Mm-hmm.
and sheath. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get that
yeah,
one. So like I think I would have been a lot more enthusiastic about this reading
yeah.
uh if there was like those short spells throughout the book.
Yeah.
Um Or if we really were waiting this long, because damn, what page do we end
In
27
my
on?
copy, which I think this is the current edition that like most people are going to see at their stores, um 248.
And
Well, that's the end of the sex.
okay, that works. I mean, and I can
But
tell by looking at
246, 247, like
that book, we're halfway through. Maybe just
yeah, I was
barely,
gonna
but
say.
like, yeah, we're definitely halfway through. And
Mhm.
like, if
Well, yeah,
we're
because it's
waiting,
a 400 and yeah, like we're more than halfway because it's just over 400 pages.
and I think there's a great analogy there. There could have been if we had waited this long and had like this huge long sex scene, like
Mhm.
several descriptions, like, more than just like this little bit, and then, oh yeah, they had sex a couple more times. It's like, you wait this long,
Mhm.
there's this buildup, right? There should have been this awesome, like,
Right.
night long sex descriptor, fantasy thing going on.
I mean, even if you do not
I get
describe
that.
every session,
Just something every
but
session.
I even if you just do the first one,
Uh,
if you highly just if you describe that first one super descriptive and then it continued this way throughout the night, or as I've seen in other like
and that works for you. That's
that work
okay.
that'll work for me.
Okay. All right. I think that would have worked for me had there been, yeah, like I was saying, had there been like
More
several other
foreplay.
moments, or anything really.
I
But
mean,
no,
right.
just several more moments throughout the
Because
book. Like, instead of this huge lead up and then this small section, and then, like, I guess what I was anticipating, what I'm expecting is like like in detail. We waited. We listened to or read this book more than halfway through. I went in full detail what happened the entire night.
well, and
That
like
was my
we
expectations.
also it was like all this we've been really coy and really chase with everything. And then in a span of 12 hours, we had our first kiss and now I'm going to just ravish your body
Right. Yeah.
and send you away.
And then send you away, and then drop you like you're hot, like it's hot.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, and it's, yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been better. Like, okay, do books do like maybe it's not full on sex, but it's just like oral or like, a certain kind of teasing. So like,
Like From Blood and Ash has a lot of moments where like these characters are there, it's taboo, she is not, they should not. And like I think in the first book, I think it takes a long time for them to actually have sex, but they've like kissed, made out at good intervals, and like they were sleeping and he got her off early in the morning that way with just his hands, and then yeah, he goes down on her, I think a
see,
few chapters later, and then
I think I would have enjoyed that
mhm.
a lot more than what we got here. Because
Oh yeah,
otherwise, like, I can tell you the thirst meters, like,
it wasn't thirsty,
yeah, well, the thirst
there was
meters,
no tension.
it didn't overflow with, it
That
didn't,
and I think that's the thing that I dislike so much about it, and why for me it's boring, is that like that's why I think the neck bite is so much, because there's tension and there's passion, and it's just like raw, unadulterated, like. And this was just like he's trying not to, and she's just finally like,
no, it's
here I
gonna
am
happen.
naked,
Here I am.
you're sending me away, you might as well have sex with me.
Yeah, right. Like, this is the moment it's like, oh, she's going away. Yeah, let's have sex. Like,
Sure.
kind of like a pretty dick move.
Right, like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm sending you away and your mind was nearly shattered by Rasan and you've been in bed all day and haven't had dinner. um
Not like, oh, we're never gonna see each other again. Let's have this passionate night and remember it forever.
right,
Like, oh, we're never gonna see each other again. Let's have this passionate night so I don't have to think about it ever. So I
right,
don't have to see you ever again.
right, because like it doesn't feel like it builds in like that way of like them comprehending this is their last night together.
Yeah, I
Because
get that.
if
Yeah.
there was that, I think I would have liked it,
Yeah.
because I would have been like, oh my god, they finally do it, and she's gonna leave,
Aw.
and I would have been all of, I know. I would have
Yeah.
been rooting for them more.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it
But I
does
will
feel
say,
yeah,
starting with Fire Night, we've ratcheted up the speed of this book
only to reach a climax.
to reach like, yeah, we have so yes, there is that. And I will say Tamlin did work with the golden ratio, so I do love that for Feyre. So good job, Timmy Tam.
Good for him.
2 to 1, man. 2 to 1, always. Fair, minimum acceptable. As
Sure, yeah, okay. All right. It's
far
fair.
as I'm concerned. But this is when I was like, I'm in that. I finally started to get invested in this because I want to know about who Amarantha is and I want to know what Under the Mountain means. And
Yeah.
Rhys is very interesting. And this tension between Rhys and Tamlin, that was almost sexier than. And I'm
Get
sure
down on
there's
your
fanfic
knees.
for it. Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Grovel.
Right. And so, yeah, like the stakes are rising here
Yeah.
because he has a name, and now, oh, I gotta send you away. So now it's like, okay, we know that she's gonna have to come back at some point.
Yeah. How does that happen?
But how does that right? Like, how does
Right.
that happen? So now, like, I have questions, and I'm like, okay, let's go, because like I feel
Yeah.
like this is the like after this point is when I hit the point of okay, I cannot stop.
Right.
It took
I
me
gotta finish
248 pages to get there,
to realize that you are going to finish this, but
but I am
yeah.
going to finish this, and I'm not going to DNF it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But it's not
I
smut.
it's not smut. It's not smut. I could
It's not
not
spicy.
having ever read, yeah,
Mhm.
it's not saucy. I mean,
No,
then there's a couple moments, but it's very mild.
very mild.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
but I think this is SJM's first book with sex in it though. I might be wrong. So
I know
maybe it's just her like dipping her feet in the water for this
and that could
stuff.
be like I said, that's why I know at one point we wondered, like, was this one of the first ones that like she wrote? Like, was this the
Hmm.
first story that she wrote? And then like while it got published later, it wasn't her first published, but was it
Right.
one of the first ones that she wrote?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I know it's not the first, or it is, I think it's early in her career, but it's not
Yeah.
her first. And I'm pretty sure she
Well,
wrote what was the
Throne
throne,
of
no,
Glass.
yeah, the Throne series
Mhm.
first, which was meant for a younger audience. It's
That is
my,
definitely more YA, is
yeah.
my understanding as well on that.
So I mean, I get it. I think what makes this so popular because it really is just a jumping point for a lot of people who,
Mhm.
like
Oh
myself,
no,
who have never been through this
I
stuff.
think this book does do great things, especially because like the popular like because I found out about this book on TikTok, on Book Talk, on Bookstagram, like on those bookish
Yeah,
social media sites.
yeah.
Um, and it really has like say what you will about TikTok, and I know there's people who love it and there are people who hate it. Um, but what TikTok has done for fantasy, right? Like female fantasy books has been incredible because there are so many women in fantasy now that are getting a spotlight because they're like, oh, if you really like this, you should read.
Do you
You get
think, yeah, like
the Jennifer
these books?
Armentrout, the I'm trying to think. There's so many now that are just like they're all on like my TBR of all of these, but women
Yeah.
writing fantasy with female main characters, which for a long time the big dogs in fantasy were men.
So, but why are you? My only argument is, are you sure it wasn't out there? It just wasn't as popular?
I think I think it's just I think there was always been fantasy written by women.
Well,
Like there's always
yeah,
been sci-fi written by women.
yeah. I mean,
But
yeah,
I think
yeah.
TikTok and then the popularity of how easy to consume this is, how light fantasy it is, because it's not a super heavy fantasy.
Mm-mm. No, no, no.
Um, but with it being that lighter fantasy, it having that female perspective, I think, and then just because for whatever reason it got its own life on TikTok, it's just shined a spotlight on women who write fantasy,
Yeah.
and it's great.
Yeah.
I will never diss this book for what it did for reading in general, because I think it's one of the kind of books that's part of this whole resurgence within elder millennials and even like Gen Z getting into reading books in ways that they previous generations haven't at this point.
Yeah.
So this is part of it. It's like podcasting, like there's those podcasts that really like kind of got really popular and got so many people to that, like now everybody
Trailblazers.
podcasts or trail exactly. I
Yeah.
think this, without maybe meaning to, because I think most of it was complete when it got this new life of it,
Yeah. I think ACOTAR was written 2014. So we're talking
Yeah.
almost like a decade. Or
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, a decade. Which I
And
th-
it's
which I
the staying power it's had.
but I think that's the thing. I think
Yeah,
I
first published in 2015.
I'm guessing that this book is not popular because it's a good book.
No, I think it's
Unfortunately, I think this book is popular because other books in her later books in her series are good,
oh,
and
and I
I'm guessing
I
that's why.
definitely have seen people like on TikTok saying that like you pay the tax on this book.
Sure, it's the office of the reading world or Parks
Mm-hmm.
and Recreation. You gotta struggle through the. I never understood that why you have to like watch a terrible first season to watch a really good. But anyway,
But that's what this is. Like it's,
yeah.
and I wouldn't say it's terrible, but
No, it's not. It's not terrible.
it is definitely like, oh come on.
Yeah,
It's a bit sluggish. It's
yeah.
hard. But if you
I've
can
read
get through
worse.
this, I
I've,
absolutely have read. I mean,
it sounds.
I'm currently reading worse. I It was Stuff Your Earbuds Day, a bunch of free audiobooks. They're not great.
No, sure, yeah,
I'm fine.
yeah. I get it. I get it.
But it's like this book is definitely, I like the spotlight, like it has used its popularity to give more, like, because The Priory of the Orange Tree was written by a woman. Um, you see it a lot in conversations with like the Atlas Six, which was also written by a woman. So it's nice to see that, like, and especially like for not just female, but like female, non-binary, queer authors getting more attention
Yeah.
because of TikTok and YouTube and like.
So no, social media has its place.
Mhm.
It's just also the unfortunate parts of social media that have to come
They're
along with it.
they're everything.
Yeah.
Every rose has a thorn.
Every you had to do it.
I
You
did.
did it. You
I
did it.
did. I did. I had to do it. But it's true. It's like as
No, it's
much as
true.
like
It
there's
is.
bad and like there's misinformation and there's so much negative stuff on TikTok, there's also like really great stuff and its
Mm.
ability to spread information.
Some funny shit on there.
Oh,
Some real funny
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
There's funny stuff. There's heartfelt stuff,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I so let me propose this question.
okay.
Propose sure as we kind of sign off here.
Yes.
In having finished this book,
Mhm.
having but not for this podcast, but having finished the sex scene,
Yes.
I don't know if I should be saying the only sex scene of this book. Where do we go from here? We talked about it. We've talked about it before.
Hmm.
Um, do you see? Do I see? You have read the entirety of the second ACOTAR book.
I have.
Okay, okay. I'm just gonna get to it. How much sex is in that one?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Oh my God, that's not a good answer.
I
That's not a
know.
good answer.
It's not a great answer.
This is the
Um,
smut podcast. We need,
I
well,
know
we have some ideas. We have some ideas for that.
we do.
We do. But
I have a whole list of things. Ben is not. I gifted him some stuff. It's great.
yes, I I took that book and I was
Uh-huh.
like, all right, here's the ultimate test. And I flipped it open randomly and read a passage and there was sex in that
Yes.
reading. I was like, and I immediately was just like, well, I know how this is gonna go.
Oh, I wish I could have been there for that.
It was pathetic. I was alone in my room by myself, like
And
looking
you
at
were
the
just like,
you have to know. And yes, there was
it'll be good.
some
Because yeah, I
yeah,
think what we've kind of decided that we want to do with this is we're not going to try and get through all of this ACOTAR series. Like, I don't want to live in this universe too long. So we want to
sure.
finish this one and then we're going to pivot and do a different book before we do book two,
Yeah.
before we do ACOMAF.
And I think that would be good.
Um,
And I am excited about that
yeah.
because it is something that sounds extremely spicy
Mhm.
and a little more up my alley, maybe. Maybe not. I'm not
We'll
sure.
see.
Yes.
We'll
Um,
see.
but it might be interesting to like kind of take maybe tackle maybe at some point do the Akatar books. We'll just tackle them in a different way in
Yeah.
shorter spouts, or I don't know. There's some
Yeah,
interesting some fun
we're
stuff
still
going on for.
playing with like what our format and stuff is going to look like. But I
Yeah.
know we don't want to just live in this world, this Moss verse, the
Hmm.
whole time.
Correct. I agree
Because
with
if we
that.
did that, like we would be doing this forever, and it'd take us forever to get. So it's
Yes.
like we want to get through them all, but I know we're going to finish this one out, and then I think we're going to pivot to something a little different.
Yeah.
Dip our toes into something a little different. We're going to get Ben into something that's like actually smutty. Um, and then we'll come back
Yeah.
to it.
Okay.
I will say
All right.
that I absolutely understand why I think it's chapter 53 of Akamaf is like everybody's favorite because
Uh,
it's so good. So good.
I've read half of it, and
Okay.
it is a good book.
It
I
is
like it a
so
lot.
much
It
better.
is it's a lot better. It's a lot better. It's
It's
more
like she
it's more
finally found her feet
yeah,
for fantasy, and it's so good.
yeah. I like it
I
a
loved
lot.
it so much more.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting as things go. I'm interested to dip my toes in some newer stuff, some different stuff.
Yeah, please, guys,
Um,
leave some recommendations
yeah, some
below. I actually am thinking what might be fun is actually locally coming in November is going to be a romance con at our local library. They're doing a 1 day event and they're bringing in Abby Jimenez, who does rom coms. And she actually just wrote just a new one, just came out in April of hers. So maybe we dip our toes in the rom com. Maybe we start looking at some of those authors. One of them is the gal who wrote My Minotaur, and like
really?
she's gonna be here.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Mhm. I'm like, I said because I so like weird little aside. So a good friend of mine is obsessed with Mothman.
Uh-huh.
Obsessed. Like he has a
Okay.
Mothman tattoo.
Wow.
He went down to the Mothman Fest. Like
That exists.
it does
Of
in
course
Point
it
Pleasant.
does.
Yeah, they go. He is so like he is a Mothman tattoo. Like loves so anything Mothman related. Like I just always know to get it for him as a gift. So after I read that book, I was like, oh, I know what I'm getting him for Christmas. I'm getting Joel a copy of Sweet Berries. Um,
Sweet berries. What a
what a
deceiving
title.
name.
I know, Sweet Berries, which is the Mothman romance book. And so I bought that for him for Christmas.
Oh my goodness.
And I sent him when I saw that she was one of the authors that they're bringing in. I was like, dude, the woman who
This,
wrote your Mothman smut's gonna be at the library. We should go.
what do you say?
Um, I don't think he responded.
Oh, he's just like, Either
I'm
he's
not even
just
going to acknowledge it because if he acknowledges it, he knows I'll rope him into it.
say
I'll
that,
make
or
him take the day off work.
he's already signing. He couldn't respond because he's already signing up to like be
Right.
there.
He's trying to be a volunteer.
All right. We gotta wrap this up. We've been
Yes, we do.
going long.
So,
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Remember,
thank you.
subscribe,
Please
and share.
share
Share.
with your friends.
Yeah. Let
Um,
somebody know.
we're on TikTok and Instagram, so send those around. We like to post
Mhm.
little bite-sized clips of episodes and funny moments with the cat.
Always, which ironically is gone.
I'm surprised she didn't want to come for the sign off.
Yeah, she's doesn't like goodbyes.
She's fickle that way.
She, yes, she is.
All right. Well, thank you guys, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.